वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धे भवतु मे सदा। वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। हरि ओम. Yes, can someone recollect what is it that we saw last? Yes, please. Can from the link and then move ahead. Ji.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yesterday we started with Ashwatha tree. So Shri Krishna was explaining about the inverted Ashwatha tree with the roots above in the eternity and branching below. So to visualize this is something very difficult, is what Shri Krishna said. Its form or its shape it's inconceivable, but he was giving the example. He was trying to explain that it basically branches in maybe different planes of existences, and the tree grows through the I mean, it becomes more dense through the karma bandhana sanskar and experiences, and we have to make sure that we don't get trapped into it. So for that we have to practice the asanga, and we don't have to, I mean, we have to come out of the pull of the three gunas, by which we can actually, we will not get trapped. At the same time, he also described that the different, I mean, the leaves of this trees are actually kind of, suktas of Vedas, which actually have that, I mean, eventual truth which they are trying to explain. And yeah, when basically we have to focus on, we have to try to be one with the supreme consciousness, and that should be our final aim. And once we become one with that supreme consciousness, we will not return to the mortal world again. Even about the life form, he said, when the at the time when the creation takes place, the quantum of his energy enters into the life form. All the senses and mind are actually powered by him, and then eventually he also experiences everything through this. When he's sitting within, he experiences all of these things via his senses and mind. We don't realize that, we have to become conscious about it. And at the prayanakal, same, what do you say, part of him leaves the life form, and that is what it is. So yeah, that is where I think we had stopped yesterday.
Ji, absolutely, Jayabhumi ji. So yes, the divine is present, but the presence of the divine is for us to conceive. We have to realize it. And the divine is omnipresent. But can we see? That is the question. Krishna says, Yaha Pashyati Saha Pashyati. One young child just looked at her own, when she came to in a learning through nature children's program. She saw that my body is like the universe. It is so vast. She said it is divine. Means this was a very beautiful, we can call it a sakshatkar only for a young child. Wow, what a beautiful miracle. There's a universe inside of me. But I don't think everybody of us, we have got used to our sharira, isn't it? It has become, we have sometimes familiarity also makes one not realize certain things just because I'm familiar. I know little bit about this. We don't really go to to the depth of things. And that's why Krishna starts with the imagery of an inverted Ashwatha tree. Ramesh, did you wish to add something, sir?
No, sir. By
All
mistake.
right, no problem, fine. So Krishna gives that imagery of a Ashwatha tree. It's an inverted Ashwatha tree. The very fact, why do we have imagery? Because that allows us to imagine, to visualize. Probably where we are not, we can, what is not present, we can imagine, isn't it? What is present, we see. What is in front of us, what is pratyaksha. But what is not in present or in front of us, that is something we can only imagine until we realize it. The ways of realization have been shared already in the Gita. But right now, Krishna is saying this is one cosmic tree, a tree of life that is connecting every living being. Not just the living beings, it is a link between what? Between the mortal and the supramortal, between the divine and between man. And this link is this ethereal Ashwatha tree. The tree is also responsible for the karma bandhanas, which trap a being forever. That is Maya, isn't it? Moha, we get trapped, we cannot come out. Sometimes people get into traps of things They don't leave it until their prayana kala also, and sometimes they carry it even in their prayana kala and carry it forward, because that is the karma bandhana. It is deep, it is jada, it is strong, but there is a freedom. That is asanga shastrena dridena chitva. Cut these bonds which are, weighing you down. You don't need to. If you're swimming and you're having extra weights tied to your leg, what will happen? You will drown, isn't it? In our life also, we have this. It is called a Mrityu Sansara Sagara in the Gita elsewhere. So the sea of life also. Why are we already? We are somehow swimming. We are seeking help from the divine. We seek Him. We sincerely, fervently pray. Different moments come to us. So Prakriti is already giving us a tough time. Why do we allow ourselves to get taken for a ride by Prakriti, by the forces of nature? Why do we react, get into traps of action and reaction, and in the process, not only spoil our own lives, but also those who are connected with us? So, the only way you can is by cutting it out, by eliminating. This is a beautiful weapon, asanga. Indifference is different from attachment. We're not going to be indifferent. A sadhak is always sensitive. You see, that it's like a barometer. The sadhak who is conscious can identify the atmosphere and say, right, things are not looking very harmonious right now. And many times, sadhak is not just observing, is able to understand how to transform also. But that consciousness is there, the ability to grasp, the ability to see. Damliji had when he was very young. Nana Maharaj had met with one more great yati. Together, these two gurus were in front of each other. I think it was Janardhan Swami from Nagpur and Nana Maharaj, Taranekar of Indore. So Janardhan Swami had come to Indore and the great meeting was going to take place between two saints. All the children were youngsters were very excited. What will they have? A discussion. What will be the discussion taking place? So they were all very curious. They both came, both did their pranams to each other with respect and just saw each other face to face for some time. Everybody was anticipating a big discussion to take place, but no big discussion took place. And they did a little bit of dhyana and then they walked ahead. Now, Tamliji's elder brother, who was very close to Guruji, Nana Maharaj, he went, what is this? You people did not have any conversation. You did not talk anything. So Nana Maharaj laughed and said, no. We had a big conversation. You didn't realize what was taking place. So that is it. On a subtle level, on a sukshma level, the interaction take place. Like we say forces. We saw the three gunas. Forces exchange is always taking place whether or not we realize it. We say, I simply said these words. No, words are conscious force only. Become conscious. The moment you become conscious, your words will become mantras. They can even become a Sanjeevani mantra and transform a person from the brink of extinction to sudden liberation also. The person can become transformed. Damaji always says, Shabda tumhara ho sanjeevana. That should be our sadhana. Let become conscious. Or how they say, Saraswati nritya tu vachi mein sada is the mantra of a Saraswati Sutra attributed to Agastya Rishi. So everywhere consciousness is important. So if you become conscious, Krishna says you will not get trapped. This consciousness will liberate you. And then he says, what should you do to become conscious? Seek. Seek that supreme conscious existence. In that, there should not be ahankar. Ahankar also is natural, isn't it? Just like I am this, that person is not this. Immediate feeling comes in. Mama kaha pandavaschaiva. It's another type of ahankar. My people, my children, my things. This ahankar should be left aside, Krishna says. And again, he see called conquering the fault of attachment. Means this attachment is considered a fault, and this is the fault that is preventing us from recognizing the inherent divinity inside of us. The moment this fault is conquered, in the fifth shloka we see, Dvandvair vimuktaha sukha dukkha sanyaihi gacchantya. 'Gacchantya mudaha padam avyam tat. 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 'Gacchantya mudaha padam avyam that person who is ignorant can suddenly reach the highest pada. What is that highest pada? Swatma Ramoham Puma Parama Sukhe Svena Swasmin Swayam Brahma Swe Mahimni Swanubhutam. The Anubhuti will come, the realization that I am Brahma. Praptam Paramapadam Shantam Vimala Sukham. You will experience that peace, that ananda, that quietude, which is your right, which is your adhikara. Who is an adhikari? Adhikari is somebody who deserves. It is not ahankar that I am, don't you know who my father is, don't you know who what gharana I have come from. That does not give adhikar. Adhikar is got from karma and you deserve it. So with sadhana, you become adhikari of knowledge. To recognize Gita also, you have to have the adhikar to understand Gita. For that, you have to start from following principles of Krishna to really understand it. Karmanyeva adhikaraste mam phaleshu kadachanam. Start becoming the adhikari, then you will experience. And the highest pada can be got just by a simple act. A simple act. Many times life is very simple and we complicate things and then we suffer the consequences. That is something we have to free ourselves from because we have to go there. Why? Because that is where a new game starts. We have not yet entered. Means it's like पहलवान मैदान में आया ही नहीं है. He has not yet entered into the ring. When will the game start then? The real thing. Right now we are just being played around by Rajas, Tamas, Sattva. I like this person's Sattva, so that Sattva complements my Sattva, so I will go hang out with that person. Same way, Rajasic person will attach with another Rajasic person. Tamasic person will attach into another Tamasic. And then they are all living in that guna, in that circle of moha maya, not coming out of it at all. Are you going to keep living your own whims and fancies, or you are going to become nimitta matra? Nimitta is important. Why is it important? Because our world needs it, isn't it? Maybe I may not be suffering so much. So what? People are unfairly suffering in this world. Shouldn't we become a means for removing the suffering of the world? We call it Bhumi, no? Bhuma, Devi. Our Devi is, our goddess is this Srishti. So why? And nowhere do we get happy. Can we get happy if somebody suffers? If we really want to hear experience Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, then the world will have to be a wonderful place. Start with your society, start with your circle, start there. Slowly, each person can establish. So this aspect of becoming conscious, when you become conscious, the higher picture is visible. There, that Suvarna Surya, the Suvarna Satya is visible. Many times Satya is also hidden. Truth is not fully manifest. We just recognize half truths and we start thinking it is the full truth. And that creates a problem. And that's why you have to rise in consciousness to realize what is the rhythm. So much that the Isha Upanishad also talks about the same thing. It says the truth appears gold, like first, what is golden and glittering, it appears that that is the truth. But the higher truth is even behind what is that which is glittering on the surface. So here, one side we are told Hiranya Garbha is the highest, the supreme golden womb of creation. But in the creation, we get attracted to certain things and we get lose what is the sight of the truth. That is why the mantra is there. Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukham tattvam pushanam apavruno satya dharmaya drishtaye. Let me realize. Dharma warrior. I am a dharma warrior is a lot of people call themselves on Facebook. But have they seen the highest dharma? Have they seen what is the dharma? When will they realize it? Or are you going to keep fighting like Don Quixote? Imaginary battles. To realize it first, the surface, what is not truth, that has to be broken. And that also can happen with the Ashirvad of the Ishta, of the Aradhya, with the karma, all these factors, or Guru Krupa. These factors play a role. So for that, we have to realize it. Because when you go to that point, then there is no return from that. You have realized somewhere I realized there is no point in me getting drunk every day. That person will not get into it, will not. He'll realize, ki, what is this? I'm drinking so much, I'm losing out my relations with the people I care the most. And that realization comes and then the person can stop. Same way when you get a taste of that higher consciousness, then you realize I don't want to lower my consciousness. I don't want to engage in actions which will lower my consciousness. I don't want to get trapped in the cycle of revenge and hatred. Nothing good is coming out of it. Instead, let me spend my time. Already it is little on earth. Let me spend it for something which is valuable for the sake of the world, not just for me. Krishna goes on. He says, see, look at the Srishti. In the Srishti, there are different types of people, and in different type of people, there is an ansha of mine, a small ansha of the divine that has come into existence. And as that ansha is there, there is the teja, there is the prana. All these factors manifest inside of the person, and the person is alive. But he also reminds an important aspect. What happens when the prana leaves? That is also a truth. So when we have this sharira, we say no, it is a vehicle for us. So we'll have to use every moment that we have for the best. Because like a fragrance is just pushed away by the breeze. This jivan also, life also. Like a breeze, suddenly it pulls away. We don't realize it and nobody expects it. And that is a riddle also, no? Yaksha Prashna was this that everybody thinks death happens to everybody else except themselves. No, not to me. But we don't know, and there's no logic sometimes. And that is why yogis are wanting. They say, first, fight the outer battles, bring about a great transformation in the world, remove the suffering, remove the imbalance. Then you can focus on the main battle, which is Amar Tattva, which has to be realized by humanity. We are still trapped in a wrong battle, unnecessarily trapped in a different moha. We'll have to first win that to go to the next step. The yogis have shown us that yes, there is a path. So many of them. Vallalaras, what we can say, his name, other name, Ramalinga Swamigal. Maharshi Arvind talked about transformation of what we can say the material aspects of the world only. They call it a supramental manifestation should take place. We have to ready the ground. That's the duty of everybody to bring about that manifestation. So that should be our preoccupation, not in other things which are unnecessary and silly and a waste of energy. Krishna says all of this a person understands, and so that person becomes quiet. Empty vessel makes most noise, isn't it? भरा घड़ा शांत रहता है, बिन पानी लुढ़क जाता है. So the one that is empty, it will fall down immediately. But that which is full, that vessel remains, it remains quiet. So something like that, the yogi is understanding, not taking too much pride on the positions that a person has. Adi Shankara's words, Mano Buddhya Hankara Chittani Naham Nacha Shrotra Jive Nacha Grana Netre Na Tejo Na Vayu. Then Koham Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. That is the focus of the dhyana. So there is the direction. But those who are not aware, they are trapped. Means here he's saying, I'm not even the Ahankar. Even that Ahankar, what nonsense I'm worrying about Ahankar. Or sometimes I'm pointing out, see, I have understood that this person has Ahankar, that person has Ahankar. This is the way which you can be free from Ahankar. A lot of people advise also. Who is advising? Ahankar and one is advising another. Srishti is talking about Ahankar being omnipresent in all human beings. With sadhana, it will slowly reduce. But then there are the many who hold on to the Ahankar for various factors. What happens then? Well, they don't realize the divine. They don't realize the presence of the divine. They live in their Ahankar only. And what happens when your view is only very myopic? Say if you do Nasikagra Dhyan only, can you see what's happening around everywhere? No. Just looking at what is under your nose or just on the tip. You cannot see what's on the horizon when you focus. So your focus is so limited. It is as simple as that. Krishna is saying the same thing. He says, these individuals who are not able to contemplate on the divine, they thrive, and then they perish in that ahankar only, without recognizing the presence of divinity. Unfortunately, not only in others, but even in themselves. All their lives, they live thinking, there is nothing inside of me. Isn't that such a sad life? Does anybody deserve to live that way, thinking they are not capable of anything or I am useless? There is nobody. This term itself is a wrong term. There's, I think, some yogi had very nicely said, shouldn't use the word useless, say the word used less. The person has the capacity. Only nobody has understood. They say yojakas tatra durlabham. You need that someone who is going to tell you. Many times we just need somebody to touch our back and say, chalo, bete, beti, मैं हूं तुम्हारे पीछे. That is enough. And that is the Abhaya Hasta of the divine. When you recognize it, Jako rakhe saiya mar sakhe na koi. Nobody can dare come in between. When God be for us, who can be against us? Something like that. But the one trapped in Ahankar will not realize it. Unfortunately, they do not realize the perceiving presence of the divine. They do not realize the coming and going of the divine. And they don't recognize anything. They feel, I am the bhoga. I am the one who is the real bhogi. I am the real enjoyer. As long as my senses function, my existence remains. A young friend of mine, he says his life is going to, he has planned up for his life. He doesn't want a life more than 50 years. I was so surprised. And already he is walking like he gets tired and panting after walking a bit. Just not because of some illness, just out of laziness and personal view of life. And here I have seen 80-year-old, 90-year-old with the energy of an 18-year-old. How is it possible? Well, that is the perspective. So a person without the perspective of the divine does not have that motivation or is not recognizing the beauty. So the person will resort to Ananda only. No, everybody is seeking Ananda. Only they are looking at wrong in wrong places. So they will search for Ananda in some kind of food. Some people will search for Ananda in intoxication, and they experience the side effects also. But the yogis are not like that. That's where we are looking at. And that's where what is also our preoccupation. Let's look at what they say. Yatanto yogi nishchainam pashyant atmani avasthitam yatantopya kritatmano nainam pashyant chetasaha. The indwelling self, they recognize and observe. And so the yogis and the saints strive to know and serve. But to the ignorant, this truth is not known, for beyond the material, they have never really grown. Krishna is not saying that because you don't believe in God, you are going to suffer. It's just that you have not grown in consciousness. You've not grown, you have still remained immature. As a child, you can say it's cute. This child wants the sun. He's asking for the moon. Give me this. I want to put inside of my pocket. You can appreciate it. But the same at the age of 40 or at the age of 50, you'll say, Arey boss, just show him to a psychiatrist or show her to a psychiatrist. Because that is not something here. Now, what has happened is somewhere we can tolerate immaturity to some extent. But after a while, it has consequences. So immaturity is not right. But people who are trapped in desires will remain that way. That consciousness has not grown. Krishna still don't, that's why don't go, Buddhi Veda also don't do is because you will create a divide in that mind. Psychologists also say the same thing. Don't try to change anybody else's perspective unnecessarily. You might end up hitting that person's Shraddha Sthan, and that is something which is the core of the being, no? Fundamental aspect. Even a sane person will become insane when you touch the what we call marma or shraddhastan. So that is where you have, that is why it is said, na buddhi veda. How do we teach in Gita? What should we spread? No, no, don't go spreading just like that. For somebody who wants to know, you definitely take your time out. But let the person want, isn't it? Krishna also says that. Without Arjuna starting that Shishya Seham, Krishna didn't start the pravachan also himself. He was leading by example. So where are we? Just because we've read the Gita, we suddenly, you people are living lower lives. Don't you understand? Who knows? Krishna might have taken a different form just to tease us and show on the outside he's living a lower life, but actually the person may be leading the highest life, which we are not conscious. So that the way that dvandva is not required, yogi is recognized, and they say, I will serve this entire life. I'll serve you. Ram Das, Tulsi Das, Kabir Das. Why are they all Das? Sri Aurobindo also says to be servant is good, to be a slave is better. Servant of what? Not desires. Servant of the divine. The servant of the divine is the Raja of this Srishti. He is the emperor, the queen, the greatest one, who have experienced the oneness with the divine. And that is why the yogis recognize it, and so they spend their time serving. But the ignorant don't understand this truth, and so they cannot grow. Krishna goes on, Yadaditya gatam tejo jagat bhasyate khilam yat chandramasi yat chagnau tat tejo vidhi mamakam. For the entire cosmos, it is I who am the light, illumine the creation. I set the world alight. The sun, the moon, and the fire, I verily ignite. Know all that is radiant to be only my might. Krishna is saying, recognize my Teja. I am the Surya. I am the Shashi. I am the light that is powering the entire universe. Recognize all of this. Recognize all of this to be my presence. Krishna goes on. He says, Gama Vishya cha bhutani dharayami ahamojasa पुष्णामि चौषधीः सर्वाः सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः. Onto the earth I have descended, and into the material my spirit has thus extended. Know me to be Soma, the immortal Lord, and my ambrosia to the medicines and living I accord. So here, upon earth, my descent has taken place, is what Krishna is saying. I have entered into this Srishti, into the material. Means from the Hiranya Garbha came this Srishti. But in the Garbha of the Srishti again is the divine. He is there inside, is what Krishna is saying. Now recognize me to be Soma, the immortal Lord, and my ambrosia to the medicines and living I accord. What is Soma, anybody?
Is it nectar?
Okay, Karthik, this is nectar. Just nectar, nectar of the flowers or something more? Manisha ji?
Amrita.
Amrita, yes, Amrita. And this, a lot of people, when they came across Soma Agni, one name of the herb, they started searching for that herb. Even now, people are searching, not yet found. They're searching for that herb because they feel that will give the immortality. Because in there is this various suktas, but Soma is also a god, isn't it? Soma is also Deva. Yes, Karthik ji?
Or is it the elixir? The
Yeah, it is. It is the elixir also. And beautiful aspect of these root words is they are having multiple meanings in Sanskrit. Soma also means a particular deva. Dadhi shankha tusharabham shiro dharnava sambhavam namami shashinam somam shambhor mukuta bhushanam. This Soma is also the crown, the abhushan in the mukut of Shambhu. Tadhi shankha tusharabham. Calm, peaceful, quiet, like the curd, fair as the curd. What is this Soma? Another name. If we look at it, one is you can connect Soma to the elixir Soma. If we connect it to the Deva, anybody?
oh, hence the name Somashekar.
Soma Shekhar, absolutely, Karthik ji. Yes, Dr. Atul ji is saying
The moon, for the
the
moon.
moon, absolutely, the moon. Now, what has moon got to do with life? It's got everything to do with life. I think human body also, even in males, even in females, it's more pronounced in females. They understand that it actually replicates the cycles of the moon. How is it? What is this connection? In Ayurveda, we understand that the moon is responsible for granting the medicinal potency to the herbs. Means potency of the herbs increases in the moonlight. Now botanists are finding out different cycle. They say Krebs cycle is there. This functions inside in the absence of light. These reactions take place. All of that, keeping that aside also. That is why, and how are we told? We are told don't disturb the plants at night. Don't pluck them. Plug them in sunlight because that is the time if we are using it for Aushadhi also, let it have its medicinal potency, isn't it? What is the use of a medicine without a potency? something like that. Then another is Chandrama Manaso Jataha. It is understood that the moon is the Karaka of the mind, directly connected with the mind. We had in previous classes also my own school teacher. He has a daughter with special needs. He says he's not from the same Sanatan Dharma. He's from a different religion, but maybe very well a part of Sanatan Dharma, we can say. But what he has explained to me is, I don't know. He said whenever the new moon is there, whether and or the full moon is there, my daughter gets excited, hyper, and that entire night I cannot sleep because I have to take care of her, and it is connected with the moon. Another doctor, I think, I don't remember, this is Dr. Swarupaji or somebody else who shared that there's a flux of patients on these two particular days. So many connections are there, and Krishna is saying, see, recognize my presence. I am here. I am that Soma. I am giving the value to the medicine also. Sometimes the same item taken from somebody and it can have no effect. And when somebody's touch is there, a conscious touch is there, that aspect suddenly becomes something else, absolutely different. Materially, the same thing. Why is that? Well, again, the consciousness is there, and that is Soma, is what Krishna has told. He goes on further, he says, I am also Vaishwanara. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Prani Nam Deham Ashritaha Prana Pana Samayuktaha Pachamyannam Chaturvidham. Life's fire I have instilled and sustained, by which the physical body of every being is maintained, controlling the inhalation and exhalation of life energy. The four types of foods I verily digest in synergy. The prana, the life force entering, and the apana, life force leaving. I balance all of it. Samayuktaha. There is a fire inside of our body which is mostly made out of water. Ayurveda calls it Jatharagni. Shri Krishna has called it universal flame of the Vaishwanara, the flame of the Teja which is present everywhere. That makes us function. That makes us go on. And he says, I digest all the four types of foods also. Meaning the four types of foods, basically the way we consume them. Some foods we chew, some foods we gulp, some we lick, and some we drink. Something like that, different types of foods, all four of them. I digest, meaning that Jataragni. That is why in many homes, before eating, they start a prayer. What is the reason for that prayer? One is expressing gratitude. Another is also reminding the body, chalo, let us. And they don't eat before that. Some people follow a very strict habit, like they don't keep munching all throughout the day. That's also very scientific because, the moment we take a food inside, the tongue sends a signal to the rest of the body ki now the digestion is going to take place. And then the Vaishwanara is activated, we can say. Or Vaishwanara is already activated. Jataragni starts functioning. But we don't know how much the tongue does not decide, isn't it? Mind decides many times how much you are eating. So sometimes you may eat little bit only. But factory production started as if it's full production swing. Your inside, what we say, the digestive enzymes are released as if you are going to eat the full meal. So then these enzymes get wasted. Instead, you become conscious while you're eating also. What you eat, it will get assimilated well. That assimilation is also important. It becomes converted into energy then afterwards. In our village, same thing. गाय दूध नहीं दे रही है, इतना चारा खा रही है पर दूध नहीं दे रही है. प्रॉब्लम क्या है? गाय में प्रॉब्लम है, चारे में प्रॉब्लम है. What is the problem? And the problem is when the veterinary physician comes and says, no, this is the conversion factor has to be improved. Why this is not happening? Because of this. Identify, then solve it. Something like that, Krishna is saying. The balance has to be maintained inside, and I am that fire, is what he's saying. It's controlling the inhalation and exhalation. The balance is so important. Sometimes pranayama is supposed to help you, isn't it? Pranayama is pranayamadi yogena sarva roga samuchayet. All rogas can be cured with pranayama. But in the second line, ayukta abhyasa yogena sarva roga samudbhava. Do it wrongly, in an improper manner, then there's a chance you might cause certain diseases like Bhasrika, Kapalibhati, done improperly can cause hypertension, but done properly can relieve hypertension. So the system is there, follow it, become conscious. That is exactly what Krishna is talking about. He goes on, Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto mattaha smrutirjnana vapohanancha vedaisya sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta kridveda videva chaham. In the very heart that beats, I verily reside. I am there, hridhi sannivishtam. Over every being's memory and knowledge, I preside. Our buddhi and our smriti, it is the divine who is presiding over. My question is, recognizing this, does it make us feel good or does it make us feel bad or does it make us feel vulnerable? That our buddhi, our smriti is presided over, not by myself, but by the divine. Anybody, what bhava does it create inside this very statement of Krishna? Yes, Renji.
Gives me the sense of freedom.
It gives you a freedom, okay. And then it shows that I'm not owner of anything, isn't it? My smriti also, my smriti and my jnana, that is also not in my hand, isn't it? Some of the wisest people, they have lot of pride over their intelligence, lot of over their memory. Suddenly, at one point of time, nature does plan something else which they don't understand, and suddenly the memory is gone. The most wisest person also loses a memory. Why? Because that is not in his hand or her hand. It is higher, it is in the higher hand. That's what Krishna is talking about. I am known by the Vedas, and I'm also their knower. And for the Gnostic texts, the Vedantas, I am the creator. So, what is there in the Veda, I already know. Why? Because I am the creator. And when you study Veda, what will you know? You will know the truth of me. You study the Vedanta, you will understand the same truth. What is that? The truth of the Brahman. That is Brahma Jnana, the highest knowledge. Pavitram, highest, greatest, purest, best, most resplendent knowledge also. That is going to come. Many times in villages across India, across Bharat, we have had so many yogis in different villages. Not all of them read the Shastras, isn't it? But they connected with the divine sitting in their heart. They realized it, they experienced it, and then the Shastras started flowing. The yogi may not have read the Shastra, but what that person was speaking was resonating exactly the same message. How is it possible? It is the truth. And something for me where very close quarters I have been able to see is Damleji himself. Some of the terms he says, and then I quickly find afterwards. Sometimes not quickly, sometimes very slowly. I find later on some reference to a word which was said not in context. This Upanishad says this. He who does not know, he can only know. I was very surprised. Kena Upanishad emphasizing the same point when I later on read, and suddenly the Upanishad became simpler to read. Because yes. So the first thing is, chalo, I don't know. I'm happily declaring I don't know. That is fine because that is creating the ground for knowing. If I already say I know this much, then I will not know. So like that, different things. The Upanishads are confirming the same truth. Means even Ayurvedic medicines now, Damliji's formulations, he first developed them. Then I had to go to the government department to give them to get an approval. I have to find references. I was so surprised to find similar formulas which are being conceived in certain shlokas. It is visible. How is it possible? When I had asked, then Damli said somebody had told him that Ayurveda is a science of intuition. Can you quantify intuition? Can you standardize intuition? I'm creating center for intuition. I'm going to make you reach that intuitive stage. Can anybody do that? This is a procedure. Level 1, level 2. Now you have completed level 2. Before going to level 3, please register with this particular thing because next level is advanced. No, it's nothing like that. Adhyatmic marga, anytime Raja can become suddenly, what we can say, on the streets, losing all his samrajya, and a person on the street can suddenly become Raja when It is the divine wish, divine aspiration, divine will, or we can say adhikara, when the person becomes adhikari. So anybody can become, and here that is why we must remain grounded. But Krishna says the Vedic knowledge also can be realized by realizing the divine sitting in our heart. Sometimes you just touch your heart, no? Physical heart also, just touch from the outside, feel the heartbeat and try to connect with it. Ki, my God, so many years this organ has been pumping and I have been experiencing such a beautiful life. So many of my precious moments are because this heart has been pumping. Imagine if it just said, आज बहुत हो गया, strike. कोई मेरा सुनता ही नहीं है. Everybody is troubling me only. Enough. I don't have to. I am not bound by you. And the heart says, okay, break for 5 minutes only. Then I will resume. What will happen? Entire system is over. Our life, dreams, aspirations disappear. So the aspect of becoming conscious, this is something. And Krishna says, you can understand. And I am present there. I am present there. Become aware. He goes on further. He says there are two types of existences in the creation. Dvavima Purushau loke Sharashchakshara evacha Sharaha sarvani bhutani Kutastokshara uchyate. In the universe, there are two forms of manifestation. One indestructible, while the other attains destruction. In all living things is found the form destructible, but seated high above them all is the form imperishable. So there is a kshara and the akshara. Kshara is that which can be cut, which can be destroyed. Our sharira is kshara only, isn't it? Limitations are there. My skin will bleed, my bones will break. I will suddenly lose control of my indriyas also with time, sometime or the other. I am suffering with vyadhi also. Disease comes anytime, and then I suddenly lose all of it. Why? Because this is the prakriti of the kshara deha. That is why the sadhana is for understanding that you are little more than this shara. You are something higher than the kshara. You are a part of that akshara Brahma, that Brahma which cannot be destroyed. So this Srishti is mostly made up of perishable forms, but the Brahman is imperishable. And we have to recognize that Satya of the Brahma. And the real sadhana is to experience the Akshara while we are in the Kshara only. That is the real yoga. That is what is the purpose also of sadhana. He goes on further. Uttamaha purushastvanyah paramatme yupadhardahrutah yo लोकत्रयम आविश्य बिभर्तव्यय ईश्वरः. Apart from these two, is the spirit highest. Of all manifestations, it is considered greatest. Entering existence, the Supreme Self latent exists. All three worlds, this divine being uplifts. Means, if you look at it in a objective way on a, what we can say, the Dvaita manner, you will see clearly a contrast, isn't it? Divisible and indivisible, destructible, undestroyable, or imperishable. These look up absolutely opposite things. In nature, we can say, no, no, this tree is at least compared to us, it is going to grow on and on. It will have a long life. We are only having a limited life. So here, this is something. But there is something which is higher than the limits that we know, than the limits that we see, or the limits that we have assigned with our logical mind. And that is the Supreme Divine, the Param Purusha. Different names. Brahman also can be called the same thing. Beyond the limits of the Kshara and the Akshara. That is the divine, is what Krishna is saying, and this divine is present. That is why there is this nice shloka which invites us to recognize the divine in this Srishti. Anandamayam Jagadidam Sarvam Parabrahmanam Avartitam Mayapi Parabrahma Prasantasya Santarupinam. So Anandamaya Jagadidam Sarvam. This entire Srishti is Anandamaya. Look at the Ananda Lahari, Saundarya Lahari, all of them, you recognize it. You will see What a beautiful Ananda. There's ripple everywhere. These are what various yogis have understood. Everywhere, Ananda only. Jagadidam Sarvam. Why? It's we are anshas of that Ananda only, isn't it? Parabrahmanam avartitam. It has descended. This game of Kshara and Akshara has come from what? From that Parabrahma, which is called Purusha. Then Maya api Parabrahma, meaning Maya also is a creation of ultimately the Parabrahman only, isn't it? Though it is right now a hurdle, as today before the class Renuji was saying, it is very difficult to identify or connect with the divine in people we don't like, in people we don't resonate our views with, or people who are not nice to us. It's very difficult, she said. But she gave a very beautiful aspect in why it needs to be done. Renuji, if you would like to just share once, why? What does it benefit? How are these moments? Yes, Renuji.
We get to know ourselves because when
Ah,
we find in our own space or place, we are not aware of our inner self. What is my actual? We think we are very good, but when a challenge is put before us, when we are challenged, we get to know, yes, what is my actual reality? What is my reality? And that
yes,
to transcend myself also becomes I become aware of myself because
absolutely.
what I am hearing from you, what I am reading from the book, they are there. They are there
Ji,
and
ji.
they are now. Okay, now I have faltered. Now I have to get up.
Yes, yes.
This helps me also, and this helps the other person.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because that person gets exposed, no? When their plan does not work. If
Yes,
they say if it is a nefarious design, the person recognizes, no, this is not working, and slowly, slowly, that is how they realize ultimately.
yes. If suppose I am just speaking to someone and the person is not in a position to, or he's not at all speaking to me, he's not reacting to me, rather, not even responding to me, that gives me a message.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Hari Om. So then, in a Kshara
Sushil ji?
and yes, yes,
Yeah,
Chaitanya.
sorry, just wanted to ask one thing. We talked about two forms, right? Kshara and Akshara.
Yeah.
So Kshara is the destructible one, Akshara is the indestructible one.
Yes,
So,
yes.
and then we said there is something higher than Kshara and Akshara. So
Yeah.
what is the this difference between that Akshara and that higher form? Because I thought that Akshara is
Yes,
something.
yes. Akshara is closer to that higher form. But again, Akshara is a limit, what we can say, a perception of us, no? For us, it's a limit, isn't it? Like in integration, you have minus infinity to infinity. The entire limits have been assigned by man only, isn't it? There may be something which is beyond the limits also.
Okay, I mean you're saying that there is something that we may think of it as Akshara, but there is something beyond that also.
Yes.
That's the way.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Because now Om is said to be Parabrahma in the Mandukya Upanishad. Then it is divided into U, Ma. There are three parts. Then each of these parts are connected with a specific, what we can say, aspect of consciousness. Is like this, U is like this, Ma is like this. Then the fourth dimension is introduced. Shantam, Shivam, Advaitam, Chaturtham, Manyante, Sa Atma, Sa Vijnayah. Means it is not, I cannot speak. It is quieted. It is in that bliss. It is in that silence. It is in that ecstasy. It is that ecstasy of oneness. Probably that both Shara and Akshara have become one. They cease to remain. It is that Advaita of oneness, which is supposed to be Shara and Aksharatita. Both Sharatita as well as Aksharatita. That is the Brahman, which is called Shivam. Auspicious,
Okay.
Mangalmaya. Yes, sir.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Ji. Thank you. So, Krishna goes on. Yes. So, yes, Dr. Suraj, you wants to add something? Yes, sir.
Just adding one point to that, you have to look into everyone with you see the goodness and God in everyone.
Yeah.
So I was pointing out that when we not like someone or like that, it's hard to get like that. So what I experience is that when that comes to me, so I think of it, passes it on. Initially I was thinking like, why does everything happens according to him only. So why doesn't he showing this experience to me right now? And by thinking on it, by concentrating on it, I find myself to be getting improved a lot.
Okay.
So that is one aspect. And another aspect is he's trying to act through you only. See,
Hmm.
if else is in your position, what will be the result of that interaction? Maybe a fight,
Yeah.
maybe a big thing. So because you were there and you saw part of a God in him, his action, he may be a bad person, but his action is according to the God.
Yeah. Yantra Rudhani Maya, isn't it? God is moving everybody as an instrument.
He thinks he is hitting me, he is doing bad things to me, but actually God is doing through him only. Whether he
Absolutely.
is, but God is giving us experience. So
Ha,
he
ha.
is only nimitta matra. He is not doing by himself. So
Yes,
if you want to
absolutely.
hate, you have to hate God. If you want to love, you have to love God.
Ha, ha. So,
So
absolutely.
everything is God. So that was an enlightenment for me at one point in my
True,
life.
sir. True, sir. Absolutely.
After that, whatever happens, whoever happens to me, I see only God. Like
Hmm.
it is in a split second, I'm still human. So in
Yeah,
split
yeah.
second,
Yeah, natural. We will always remain, no? Our human nature is difficult to transform.
calming myself, breathing, like just pranayama will heal everything. Pranayama helps to get conscious.
Yes.
Doing pranayama, I sit calm, I calm myself in certain situation. So I see God only. So problem is solved on its own. I don't have to do anything.
Ji,
So
ji. Absolutely.
that is my experience. I just want to share that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, yes. And sometimes the yojana is created by the divine only, that you interacted with this person only. Because now you see something big is happening at that time, you're going to get excited. Correctly, the divine sends you another person who will bring you back on the ground. So your most exciting moment, you're already grounded and quiet and maybe conscious for the divine first, because the divine is conscious force working. He understands our growth, our life's trajectory. Everything is already being planned. We just have to be available for it. So for that, remove all of that. And it is sometimes advantageous to have critics around you all the time. It will help you grow. It will help you grow. Sant Tukaram's wife only. She did not like him at all because of his love for Vithala. She would even say Kaya, to Kaya, that dark god. Of course, she liked Krishna or she liked another deva with another form of the same. But continuously, every single point, the person who was doubting him the most was not outside, but on the inside only it. His own dear, or we can say Ardhangini, all the time questioning. That made him grow even higher. Instead of getting frustrated and having that tutu mama dialogue, which most of the time people have, which lead to nothing, which leads to nothing. Instead, go ahead, keep progressing. It is something. There's a beautiful doha, if I'm not mistaken. Nindaka niyare rakhiyo, angan kuti chhawaye, bin pani sabun bina nirmal kare soaye. So what is it? Keep them in your garden only, your critics, your opponents. Nothing better than that. Because they make you nirmal. They make you brilliant. They make you brighter. They make you better. It's like they're cleaning the dirt out of you. By their actions, they're triggering you, or you are not getting triggered. You are able to receive what we can say higher knowledge. Bin pani sabun bin hai. Without water, without a soap, you are able to clean yourself so easily. So keep them, keep them. So something like that. Let us continue now. So there is this existence which is upholding this entire jagat, and that is beyond what we deem the limits of mortality and immortality, the Kshara and the Akshara. He goes on further. Yasmat, Yasmat Ksharamati Aham Aksharadapi Chottamaha Atosmi Loke Vede Cha Prathittaha Purushottamaha. As I am beyond the manifestations perishable, transcendent, and surpassing even the imperishable, the Vedas and the world together proclaim, I am the Supreme Self. They exclaim. So the Vedas, this says, Tattvamasi, you are that. that Brahman, that consciousness which is supreme. Sanatanastvam Purusho Matome was the dialogue of Arjuna when he got the full darshan of the Vishwarupa. Till then, he was feeling he is the guardian of Sanatan Dharma, he is the warrior who has to uphold it. And suddenly, when he saw, he forgot what he is. Is he in the front? Is he in the back? That time, Purusho Matome, you are the Purusha. You are the Purusha, Sahasra Shirsha, Purusha, Sahasrakshas, Sahasrapat, the upholder of the entire Bhumi, the Srishti. This is what all the Vedas, all the Rishis, they exclaim from the realization, from the base realization of the universal divine cosmic existence. Ya yo mameva sammudho janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharatam. My gnosis complete, he who has attained myself as the supreme self, he who has ordained. He loves me with everything he has in every way, as per his own nature. He adores me every day. Somebody who has recognized the divine, who has established that yes, God is. God is the most supreme. He is. This realization when it comes. There's not a psychological brainwashing that is required. It is a realization, it is a sakshatkar which has to come. And when that person gets it, what does that person do? And the heart is opened. There's only love. The love and outpouring, it's flowing. Everything is being attributed to the divine. This gives a lot of joy to that person, and that person continues in every single way. Means, acha, today's food I have made in offering to the divine. And the artist, while drawing, says, "Ah, look at this beautiful picture. I offer it to the divine because I have to offer it. Arey, I had such a beautiful moment with my dear one. I offer it to the divine. Twadiyam vastu govindam tubhyameva samarpaye. What is yours? Tera tujhko arpan kya lage mera. Because that bhava enters inside. This is a natural feeling, an outpouring of bhakti. So again, you see, even in the 15th Adhyay, the role of bhakti has again come in between. Somehow every Adhyay, once Krishna starts going deeper into the Gita, bhakti is an important aspect. It has to flow. So, sarva bhavene, whatever bhava, whatever that person feels from the heart, whatever best that person can offer, that person tries to offer. This gives ananda to that person. But if somebody else is there who is like Hiranyakashipu, what's going to happen? Frustration only, isn't it? Why? I am the Raja. I am the Praja. I am the Raja of this entire Praja. Everybody is receiving from me only. Why are you offering unnecessarily to the divine? Very recently, I came across a very difficult, disturbing truth of a person in a family from the Gita class only. That daughter was saying about how the parents started hating divine, and parents, mainly the father, he was hating the divine, and in that process, the person is going on a wrong track, doing all wrong things just because of a hatred. It's a distortion, isn't it? A distortion of love. She also says he's not a bad person, but when that comes in, entire aspect is lost. All punya is gone. So she prays, just praying. I say, yes, I'll also join you in that prayers. May this person become transformed. Because if he does, then he will be free. But here, this person is feeling Ananda. The same person is feeling opposite of Ananda. And the same, they are living together and yet different experience. Why? The opening has not taken place. One Raja had, in a story, decreed that God should not be worshipped. I think these are very common stories. So many places, the moment people become more powerful, they say, I don't believe in God. I believe in humanity. Why does believing in God make you lose belief in humanity? No, you recognize the divinity in humanity when you start believing in God. Or more than believing in God, you recognize God. Belief is something which you are establishing on yourself. Sakshatkar is that which is realized. But then the story, the king decrees that anybody in this kingdom worships God, that person will be exiled. If worse, if that person is known to spread and teach about God to others, that person will be executed. I don't want all of these false superstitions. Now, and the king had a son also. So the king wanted, I don't want the same story to happen like Hiranyakashipu. Better not introduce the term God to the child at all. So all the teachers are told, whatever happened, teach him all the arts, teach him all the skills, but don't you dare teach him about God. If you do teach him, I'll cut your heads. The teachers are all under the influence of the king. They are not concerned with the higher Vidya. They're saying, save my skin. So they decide with a little Swarthi approach. That should not be the approach of a guru is guru, isn't it? Guru cannot be bound. But here, these are not gurus. They're just passing on. They're doing the work of the Raja. So they teach him different skills. He learns all of it. And the king is happy that the prince is now growing well, growing sound. And one day in the palace, as the king is walking, suddenly he sees that the prince is folding his hands and bowing to the Surya. Frustrated, he immediately calls his guards and calls the teachers. What have you taught him? Why is this boy bowing like this? This is wrong. I am going to cut your heads. But he said, please, Maharaj, you cut my head if you want, but I am not speaking falsehood. I did not teach. The other teacher says, I also didn't teach. Then how did he learn? Maharaj, please ask him. Then the Maharaj calls Sagri in front of the who taught you this? I want to find the culprit. He said, nobody taught. No, then why are you bowing to God? He said, because I believe, I understand that it is required. He said, what is the meaning of this? I gave you everything. I am looking after your education. If you ask me, I can give anything here. This entire kingdom, I am the God. If you want to bow to me, why are you bowing to an unknown God? He just looks at the king and says, Father, surely you did not create the sun. Father, surely you didn't create these mountains. Father, surely you did not create all these trees and all these birds and life forms. Somebody must have created it. Whatever must have created it, I do not know anything about it, but my hands are full. I'm folding my hands and bowing to that divinity because I recognize that divinity. So this is the natural feeling. It happens very easily. It comes in our logic, tarka, everything. We try to push it away. But in the heart that is flowing, that goes, and that's a person experiences what we call miracles. We say miracles, we, the general people, call miracle is something which is absolutely outside of nature's understanding or breaking nature's understanding. But it's not. It's breaking our understanding. That is miracle, isn't it? What is going beyond our understanding, we call miracle. It need not go against nature. It may be perfectly normal. But that bhava will come to that person who has realized, and that person offers every single way, whatever way. And Krishna says that is enough. That is sufficient. That is sufficient. Offer whichever. A juggler can go and start juggling in front of the Aradhya. There's a story inside of a temple. A juggler said, I did not know the prayer. Just like many people make this prayer, isn't it? Avahanam na janami visarjanam, pujam chaiva na janami, shamyatam parameshwari, mantrahinam, kriyahinam, bhaktihinam, sureshwari, yat pujitam maya devo paripurnam tadastu me. Whatever I am offering, please consider it fulfilled because I don't know. I don't know how to invite you. I do not know what is the Visarjana mantra or kriya for that. I do not know the tantric approach of that at all. Pujam Shaivana Janami. I don't know. It's not ignorance. This is because the person did not get a chance to know. If he gets a chance, or she should learn and know. That is different. But I do not know. Pujam Shaivana Janami. Shamyatam. Mantrahinam, Kriyahinam, Bhaktihinam. All of this. Bhakti is also not sufficient. I'm very logical. I'm very limited in my bhakti also. But that love, whatever is there, no, I'm offering that. Please consider it complete. Please consider it fulfilled. Please consider this prayer fulfilled. I'm already saying sorry for all the inconsistencies. Now, which heartless God will say no to that prayer? No, it is not possible. That is what Krishna is saying. This experience comes and the person offers whichever way that person understands. And slowly, if there is no ankar, no, Tantra, Shastra, everything is realized by the person because who is the throat of this Tantra? Who is the throat of the Shastra? The Divine Himself. He will teach. He will teach lovingly. Why will the parent not teach a child who deserves to know? Definitely. But offering is important. So Krishna goes on. In this Adhyay, he completes with this last mantra. He says, Iti guhyatamam shastram idam uktam maya nagha एतद् बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमानः स्यात् कृतकृत्यश्च भारत. So he's reminding him, he says, to the cryptic wisdom, thus I have declared, to you, O Arjuna, I have unveiled and shared this occult secret. By knowing and understanding, one attains the highest enlightenment possible to the living. Arjuna, he's calling this a Shastra itself. this particular wisdom which he has shared in this Adhyay. He says, I have shared to you that Shastra. Truly, pick up some Shastras, for example, Kathopanishad, and then read this shloka of the Gita with and compare it with the Kathopanishad. You will find a lot of similarities. Well, Shastras speak the same truth only, isn't it? Why one Shastra will speak one truth, another will not speak a contradictory thing, because truth is one. So he says, I have declared to you the secret, the occult secret. By knowing and understanding, you can attain the highest enlightenment. Problem with occult secrets most of the time is they are also open secrets. Because they are out in the open, nobody looks at them. Because sometimes you want to hide something, what should you do? Instead of keeping it in a very protected place, no, keep it in a place nobody will even think about it. That is what the divine has done. Secret of life, he's just kept it like that on the outside. So people feel, no, 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 I cannot. I have to go such long journeys. I have to go, I have to climb the mountains. I have to go into darkest caves. There only I will find the divine. But he's here. And Krishna says, when you realize this, enlightenment is yours. Sakshatkar is yours. So with this, we are ready to move into what is the next Adhyay, which is the 16th Adhyay. Again, it's about Shraddha. Shraddha and how the gunas also function. Yes, please. With this, we'll conclude. If anybody can summarize what we saw today, we can look at the summary. And if somebody wishes to share something or ask something, after that, we can have a look at it. Yes, please. Anybody? Anyone would like to summarize?
May I?
Of course, Chaitanya, certainly.
So Shri Krishna said basically today, I think it was one of the important things that if you don't believe in God, doesn't mean that you will suffer, but it's just that you will not grow in consciousness. So to grow, I mean, to realize things, we have, I mean, somewhere we have need to have that shraddha, we need to have that belief also. But yeah, if you don't believe, that doesn't mean that you will suffer. But yeah, that your level of consciousness may
We
not
have to
grow.
realize, no, more than belief,
Correct.
we must realize it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, correct. So he said you need to understand that I am that light which is powering this whole srishti. I also enter into this srishti. I am the som. I'm the one who gives that medicinal properties to medicine. I'm the Vaishwanara. I'm I mean I am that fire within which within everyone, which is also maintaining that balance between prana and apana. And yeah, I digest all four types of food, and I also power the Jatragni, which is actually helping in the digestion. So I also preside over that mana, buddhi, and smriti of everyone, and that basically also helps us to realize that whatever we have got, it is not ours; it is of divine, and we should not have any sort of ahankar with it. Yeah, if he told that also said that I am that knowledge of Vedas, and you if you study the Vedas, you will realize that you will realize that eternal truth, and also you will realize that I am that creator. So yeah, that knowledge which is expressed in and Vedanta, I am that. There are two forms that he explains about it. The Kshara and Akshara forms that are present in this Srishti. The Kshara is the destructible one. The Akshara is the indestructible one. Akshara being closer to the supreme divine, but still with some limits. And beyond Kshara and Akshara is that supreme divine. And yeah, that supreme consciousness. And one who gets this sakshatkar will always will become free from bonds, and he will start loving and adoring me, because he realized that divinity is everywhere and beyond everything else. So yeah, so with that, I think he said, Arjuna, I have explained to that secret knowledge of enlightenment, and yeah, which is expressed there in Vedas and everywhere, which probably rishis and maharshis have experienced and tried to explain to everyone.
Ji, absolutely, Chaitanya ji. So with this, we are ready. And I think I made a mistake in saying that next Adhyay is about Shraddha. It's actually penultimate Adhyay. The 17th one is about Shraddha and nature. Next is about the divine and the demonic. Deva and the Asura. What are the two traits that is emphasized? So that we'll look at it probably on Monday. So with this, we'll conclude with the Shanti Mantra. If anybody has anything you wish to share or ask something, you're welcome, or I'll conclude. Yes? All right. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् हरि ओम तत्सत् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण पुनर्मिलामः अग्रिम पास्रे नेक्स्ट वीक यस प्लीज हरि ओम जी
Hari Om.
हरि ओम जी
हरिओम
नमस्ते नमस्ते जी
हरिओम जी हरिओम
हरि ओम जी हरि ओम हरि ओम